Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and hope you are fine from wherever you are watching this video. Realize that we have viewers all over the world. Today, there is an opinion poll that have just been released by Radio Africa Research Department. That opinion poll is still putting William Ruto ahead of Raila Odinga. But then there is some worrying trend that really William Ruto should think and look at. So I want us to analyze that opinion poll, but I think before I do that, I need to maybe give you a breakdown of the findings of that opinion poll. First, let me mention that it was done through computer-aided interviews. That is, they were actually doing phone interviews. According to that opinion poll, William Ruto is, if elections are done today, William Ruto will gain 46%, while Raila Odinga will gain 35%. But let me start here. Let me give you the last three polls so that you see the trend. William Ruto's support base in July was 42%, while Raila Odinga was 14%. July last year. And I remember that time Raila was still dancing to the BBI reggae, so it is understandable because BBI was really faced a very harsh opposition from Kenyan, the way it was demonized by the older team. Then in November, Raila Odinga's support base shifted, increased to 28%, while William Ruto was at 45%. So if you look at that point, William Ruto increased by only 1% because it was 42, only by 3%, it was from 42 to 45. Then Raila from 14 to 28. That is almost 50%. Then now it is done. And Raila Odinga have increased to 35, while William Ruto is at 46. Then let's look at a bit of the regional breakdown. According to that poll, William Ruto is ahead of Raila in central Kenya by 59%, is ahead of Raila in Rift Valley by 55%. In central, Raila has 25, while Ruto has 59. In Rift Valley, Ruto has 55. I think, let me confirm for Raila. Raila is 26%. Yes, 26%. Raila also is ahead of William Ruto in Nyanza, where Raila has 66, and William Ruto has 21. Then is ahead of William Ruto in Coast, and I think it is in Coast and Western. So I want you to ask yourself a question. Do you trust opinion polls? Do you trust these polls? One thing, personally, I may not trust them because my only problem with the opinion poll is the sampling size. This sampling size is 3,000, around 3,000 people. So I really don't buy this idea because 3,000 people, irrespective of the demographics, in terms of age, regional balance, level, maybe income, whatever you put, despite of all the other parameters of finding out that you balance the demographics, that number is very small. But nevertheless, I am not against this poll. So my analysis today, I want us to look at this poll. Why Raila Odinga is really increasing his popularity. What is increasing Raila Odinga's popularity? But just before you do that, please take a second and subscribe and give this video a like if you like it. More importantly, you can get to a comment section and tell us, just react to this opinion poll. Tell us, where do you think they're getting it wrong? Do you think Ruto is ahead of Raila in Nairobi? Actually, that one is the question. Do you think really Ruto is ahead of Raila in Nairobi? And if so, why? Now, I want to analyze one, why Raila Odinga's popularity is increasing very fast. It is increasing very fast. If you look at from 14 to 28 to 35, you don't know next. The next might be in 45. And this is what should worry William Ruto side. One is Raila Odinga announcing his presidential bid. You know, there are two things that happened. In July, he was dancing to the BBI. Then by November, already they had set the date where he was going to make the big announcement in December 10th. So I think Raila Odinga's support base became a little bit anxious, and they got rejuvenated by the fact that now Raila Odinga was announcing his presidential bid. And not just announcing. I think the way it was packaged, it was just trying to sell hope to Kenyans. That is one. Two is the latest instances where President Uhuru Kenyatta is seen to be endorsing Raila Odinga. I have always maintained in this channel, guys, that Raila Odinga needs President Uhuru Kenyatta's endorsement. It doesn't matter in what form, publicly going to campaign or behind the scene or financing or providing machinery, whichever way, Raila Odinga needs Uhuru Kenyatta's endorsement. That is my personal position. So what this helps is that, you know, Raila Odinga have won elections in this country. He has won elections. He won in 2007. You know what happened. In 2013, he also challenged, which seems he had a win. In 2017, you know what happened. There was an election, and allegedly he won, and that's why it was overturned. So Raila Odinga has won elections. But what Raila Odinga supporters believe, that he has never become the president because of lack of the deep state and the goodwill. So if Uhuru Kenyatta endorses Raila, it really makes them anxious. It gives them that vigor and enthusiasm to really support Raila Odinga. Actually, they are fatigued. So the only thing that will make them wake up to go and walk to that ballot is believing that, you know what, our vote this time round is going to count. Actually, there is a narrative by Raila supporters from Nyanza that sisi hatupigi kura kwa sababu kura ilishaibwa. So the moment that statement, that narrative is really neutralized, that can only be neutralized by Uhuru Kenyatta's endorsement. So the latest Uhuru Kenyatta's endorsements, these small incidences where he was called to speak in Jamhuri Day, you remember the statement from Nakuru, and I want you to listen to what he said in Nakuru.
Ukikuja waambie huyu ni mzee hafai, tunataka kijana, sijui huyu ni ako namna hii, huyu ako namna hii, huyu ako namna ile. Mtu anachagua na bongo bana, mtu achagui na uongozi huko hapa. Uongozi sio sprint, ni marathon. Wewe utakimbia hapa, by the time umefika pale pumzi imeisha, lakini mzee amekanyanga polepole akuja kupitia ukiwa bado kwa barabara.
Yes. What he said in Nakuru is what is happening. Unaweza kuwa mbele na mzee anakuja polepole, and now this is what is happening. This is what Uhuru Kenyatta was talking about, and now this is what this poll is showing. Now, another reason why Raila Odinga's popularity is increasing is on this strategic media coverage. I want to believe, and I think I am a journalist by profession, and I was in media. 2017, I was in Standard. I worked in Radio Africa, and I saw the way the impact of media on presidential campaigns or on politics, because Kenyans trust media. I think the latest poll showed that Kenyans trust media than government and politicians. So the more media covers a presidential candidate, even though it might be seen as maybe some favorism, but it shows even the audience that this candidate is a candidate that can be trusted. It boosts the trust of that candidate. If you see Raila Odinga's rallies and meetings being covered by these mainstream media stations, to the people down there, there is an understanding that truly Raila is trusted. And it boosts the trust. That is what Raila, because media is trusted. So if media trusts a candidate, that candidate is highly trusted, even by the electorates. A point here, why William Ruto's curve is not graph, is not on a very positive high rise. The gap, he was at 42, then he's at 45, then at 46. With other factors kept constant, there is something that I have realized on William Ruto's campaigns. Personally, I'm a communication person. And one thing we know in communication is that information, there are two types of communication techniques. You either have the rational appeal or emotional appeal. Then Ruto, if you listen to his campaigns, there is this statement that he's so rational. He's giving the facts, he's giving the hard facts with really hard feelings. Or rather, some people say that he's so hungry, he's so tempered, he looks very frustrated and very desperate. Because I think we are in 2022. The BBI reggae finished last year. But when William Ruto goes to the podium, he still talks about tutapangwa na BBI ama hatupangwi, watu watakaa kwa hoteli ikamua nani anakuwa rais ama, are we going to buy threats and intimidation? So these statements, and I want to play for you this 30-second clip. He was campaigning in Kibera. This statement doesn't make someone to make a decision on whether to vote you or no. You realize that even when he's doing the roadside rallies, unlike the stadium rallies where there is those declassified supporters, roadside, you don't have classified supporters because you just get somewhere, you sprout from the sunroof, then people pile up. You realize that he's addressing the crowd and people are just looking at him. People are not really, the anxiety is not there. You don't see the happiness. You don't see the interaction. There is a gap between him and his supporters. This is because the information is one. I attended his rally yesterday in Kangware 56. I was somewhere not very far from where he was, and this is the observation I wanted to make. How people are interacting with him. And just look at this clip.
To submission so that they can vote for you. You have to persuade them, unfortunately. So violence must be removed from the equation of the election of the Republic of Kenya. And we must remove violence permanently. Tunaelewana? And I am asking my friend that the only guarantee I want from him is that when he loses the election on the 9th of August this year, he will not organize demonstrations.
So you can see the way people are just looking at him and no one is reacting. I want you to compare this with Raila Odinga's speech in Thika Stadium. Raila has been, they have been complaining, and even personally, I think I had some reservation on the issue of giving history. But there is a catch in that history. The delivery of that history makes his politics tones down. Wait and listen first. Let me wait in. It's like comedy. Raila does it in a comical manner. So you're waiting for the punchline. You're waiting for the punchline. He gives it, and there's some people who doesn't know these things. And even if you are in stadium, yes, we know about what you're going to do. You're going to do this. You're going to build roads. You're doing that. But when he gives that history, it makes people sit down first and relax. Okay, fine. Let's listen to what you're saying, Baba. and he delivers it in a manner that you really like it. Then you see when the crowd really chanting mwizi, 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 that came from nowhere. What that shows you is his stage management. Actually, William Ruto should go to Communication 001, CCM 101, so that he manages the crowd. You saw the way Raila manages until when he finishes and Raila is saying, fire, fire, fire. He leaves the crowd very rejuvenated, very energized, and very happy. And so, people interact with the emotional appeal. So that's where the Raila love is now developing. And I think he's missing a point on his political communication. Raila Odinga's team is selling hope for a better future. Uhuru wants to sell, Ruto wants to sell hope, but he's packaging it in a manner that is more threatening and more of selling the fear. Are we going to buy intimidation? Tutapangwa ama hatupangwe? Tutapangwa, the point is, the only person who is vying for the presidency is him, not these people he's saying tutapangwa. These people lazima watapangwa, because even him anawapanga, he wants them to vote for him. So that statement of tutapangwa ama tupangwingwi, for me I don't buy it, because at the end of the day lazima tupangwe. Yes, hata yeye lazima apange hawa hustlers, awambie we are going to do this and that. And so I think that's a gap that Raila William Ruto is missing. But then guys, that's my opinion. What do you think about it? But I think Raila Odinga also need to get wary of William Ruto's inroads in Western and Coast, because this report says that William Ruto is enjoying a big support and he's almost sharing Coast and Western. So if Raila Odinga is not going to climb the mountain and upscale the 25% Central Kenya vote to 45, then I'm telling you, we are still not somewhere. The issue of these candidates, no one is still ripe for a rerun, but that really gives the One Kenya Alliance and these other candidates a gap to negotiate, rebrand, upscale, and then form a coalition, one of these two front runners, and with that, they can deliver. That's my analysis on that opinion poll, guys, and thank you very much. Please continue subscribing and supporting. You can also tell us what you think about these opinion polls.